Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Environment and Energy. Will the Minister update the House on how the government is prioritising stable, secure, affordable energy supply, which supports jobs for hard-working Australians? What hurdles stand in the way of providing a secure and affordable electricity supplies to families and farmers in my electorate of Flynn?
The Minister for Energy and the Environment.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I thank the member for Flynn for his question and acknowledge that his electorate and neighbouring electorates are a number of cane growers who have seen electricity prices increase by more than 100% in recent years, are really putting pressure on their business. Now, Mr Speaker, as the Prime Minister has made very clear, our priorities are energy security, energy affordability as we transition to a lower emissions future. And a big part of the equation going forward is storage. And that's why the Prime Minister and I today announced that the Clean Energy Finance Corporation will be contributing $54 million to the Kidston Renewable Energy Hub to ensure that a large solar project can go ahead and that a feasibility study can be undertaken to be co-located with a pumped hydro, 250 megawatt pumped hydro scheme. This is on top of more than $200 million we have already committed for storage-related projects. Now, Mr Speaker, when it comes to energy policy, those opposite are very confused. You can imagine it this. 18 months ago, the member for Port Adelaide goes over to the Leader of the Opposition and says, look, we've got to out-green the Greens, let's get together and work out our energy policy. And the member for the Leader of the Opposition says to, why don't you go and speak to the member for Watson, find out where we should do it. Goes to speak to the member for Watson and says, I've got a great idea. Let's have an off-site. And I know where to go. Let's go to Thredbo, Mr Speaker. Let's go to Thredbo. And then if you don't like that, let's go to Uluru, Mr Speaker. And let's go and have an off-site and let's come up with some policies to out-green the Greens. And then the member for Port Adelaide, says, I've got an idea, a 50% renewable energy target, Mr Speaker. And then the member for Sydney says, let's not call it a target, let's call it an ambition, Mr Speaker. And then the member for Hunter doesn't like a target, doesn't like an ambition. The member for Target said, let's call it an aspiration, Mr Speaker. And then the member for McMahon wants to be outdone. The member for McMahon comes out and he says, let's not call it an aspiration, let's not call it an ambition, let's not call it a target, let's call it an objective, Mr Speaker. An objective. But then the member for Watson, he always has to have the last word, the member for Watson goes out on Sky and he says, oh look, it's not an ambition, it's not an aspiration, it's not a target, it's not a target. You know what it is? It's a goal, Mr Speaker. It's a goal, Mr Speaker. Now, we heard that it doesn't have any impact on prices, according to the member for McMahon. The member for Sydney said yesterday it will lower prices. Well, the final word goes to the Australian Energy Market Commission, because this is what they said when they looked at extending their renewable energy target to the amount that the opposition wants to do. This is the AMC. As existing generators exit the market, wholesale prices can be expected to rise and consumers will face the full cost of the increased subsidy, Mr Speaker. That's the reality of your Labor policy. Higher prices for consumers. The minister's time has concluded. The member